everyone, and welcome to That Dog Training Show with Tanya Yarber, which happens to be me, at least for today. So this is episode 31, and today's topic is about being business friendly. And of course, we're talking about dogs. This is the show that we talk about the dogs we love and the stupid human behaviors that we don't, called shubs. Anyway, so real quick, I want to talk about upcoming classes with me. So if you're in the Los Angeles area and you're interested in taking obedience classes of two different types with me, this weekend there will be new basic obedience on Saturday and street obedience on Saturday, as well as on Sunday. If you have been holding out on taking street obedience because you only can do Sunday classes, this is going to be the last cycle of Sunday street obedience. We'll still have Sunday basic, but street obedience classes, and that's starting this weekend, this Sunday. Reason is because of all the holidays and stuff, so we'd never be able to finish another cycle. So anyway, that's just so you know, if you are planning on things and then things slip by like everything else in our life. And also the PAC Leadership Seminar, the PAC Leadership 101 seminar is going to be the 21st. And so it's actually only half full, so we got plenty of space in there. And, you know, it's a 3-hour one-woman show about dogs, and you are absolutely inspired, included in the show. I want you to be participating. It's a seminar, but it's fun. So if you're interested, you can email me at thatdogtrainingshow@gmail.com. If you're interested in the classes, then you need to go to bluecollarworkingdog.com and check out the training tab, and you will see my face all over the pet dog training stuff. So check that out for those classes, and you can pay online, etc. So anyway, I want to start off going into our being business friendly topic about an experience I had this week. I took Rambo to a pet store where we're allowed to have dogs, and he was kind of freaked out. It was a new pet store. I was just checking it out and meeting some people there, and so he was kind of nervous because there were people there. He has a problem with people, and so I decided to stop at the entrance and just stand there and put him in a nice sit heel so that he could chill out. You know, just smell everything around him and hear everything around him with me standing by on guard so that he knew he was okay, but he just got adjusted to the new situation. And so, of course, other people in pet stores, as they often do, allow people to bring their pets. And so this guy comes in with his 2 Italian Greyhounds in sweaters. They were not matching sweaters. They were different colors, but they were exact same style. So I guess that was the style for the day. And he comes in, and they're all pulling out in front, and he just lets them ram right up to Rambo, which, of course, if you've listened to me before, you've been a student or a client of mine, you know I stood up in front of him and stopped the dogs. And I kept following the dogs as they kept trying to go around me to get to Rambo. And it took a while. It felt like forever, probably about 10 to 20 seconds before the guy tried to address me because clearly I was being stupid, you know, just protecting my dog from being attacked by a pack, of just, you know, being ramrodded, because that's what I would like to do when I meet people. Is I would like to walk to somebody's place and when the door's open, I want everybody to just tackle me. That's what makes me most comfortable, you know. That's the best option, especially if I were the kind of creature and they were the kind of creature that actually learns more by smelling each other, even from a distance. The best option is to make sure everybody just pounds the crap out of him with a happy little wag. So anyway, I'm protecting Rambo, and the guy goes, they need to socialize to be, you know, I said, he's scared right now. He's a little scared. And he says, well, they need to socialize to get, you know, to know each other, that you should read Cesar Millan's books. And I wanted to blurt out and say, maybe you should reread them. Okay. And I finally just went, dude, I looked up at him and I said, I'm a dog trainer. I do this for a living. You should read Cesar Millan. They need to socialize. And I just had to keep blocking him while I'm talking to him. It was ridiculous. And he finally went away grumbling, and then he started complaining to the store owner, and he started doing all this stuff. And I was just like, wow, what an a-hole. I mean, seriously. And I know I look stupid. I mean, if you look at me, I clearly look like I don't know what I'm doing. And the way I was acting all calm and just sort of stepping in front of Rambo and making sure the other dogs didn't make any moves on him. And, you know, of course, Rambo's freaking out that the owner's now getting close to me. And I just was like, you know, go away. And, you know, I actually didn't cuss at him. I didn't say anything really mean. I thought about it, but kept my cool for the most part, and he's off grumbling and complaining to everybody and being as loud as possible about how I need to learn how to socialize my dog properly, blah, blah, blah. Well, eventually he settled down. Well, throughout the time that he was there, he was letting his dogs, while other people had their dogs there, just jump on people and wrap their upper legs, the front legs, around their legs. Well, when a dog does that, and of course the owner's like, oh, how cute, a friendly dog, and they're petting these Italian greyhounds, and what happens is then their dog gets agitated, and it's not really a jealousy thing, because it wasn't just, hey, I'm excited to meet you. They were wrapping and holding their legs over the owners, which is claiming them, which is saying, I am now head of the pack, and pushing the owner's dogs, who were right there on leash, further away in hierarchy. So then those dogs got agitated, and I would see them tag team. I'd see one would jump on the lap of the owner, or jump on their leg and grab a hold of them, and then the other one would be like tagging and touching and getting really closer with the smelling, even though they'd already smelled each other. And it is actually sort of like this kind of a hunt thing, about ownership of the owner. So then, of course, once some of the dogs would snap, which, that's the dude that kept telling me that I should read Cesar Millan's book, who apparently knows so much because he can't even get his damn dogs to heel. It's not the dog's fault. This is a shubster move. Complete shubster. So throughout the visit there, I saw this guy continuously allowing the agitation go on. And of course guess what? His Italian greyhounds are like hyper as hell. Yeah, I know they're high energy dogs, but these dogs were really hyper as hell. So it's one of those things where you see this all the time, and then you hear, on the other hand, people complain that why can't I bring my dog into a business? Well, that's why. At least that's one of the reasons why. Because you trained your dog to be an a-hole. Why would a business want to do that? I mean, first of all, we have the problem with people putting on fake service dog vests, or service dog vests. The vests are real, but they go on fake service dogs. And I understand if you're training your dog like I am, and I make it clear to like the security person, like he's still in training. I just want you to know, but he's not going to defecate in the building, and you can still choose to ask me to not come in. Okay? So I respect it when they say that. I don't sneak dogs in purses. Which then discriminates against people who have big dogs who are very well behaved. Guaranteed, most of those dogs are not well behaved. They're riding around in purses because that's the only world they know. You put them on the floor and they're complete basket cases. And a lot of them are still barking in the purses. So it's become a big business to create these sort of designer bags that don't look like carry-on kennels, but they are. So people walk in with these stores and they actually have vents on them for these animals. And it's like, well, look, you're not respecting the business. So why would a business be more open to people who are going to let their dogs in? Why would they do that, right? So if we want collectively as a society to encourage businesses to have more dogs allowed in their business, assuming it's a non-food related business, then we have the responsibility of proving that our dogs deserve to do that. And as a collective, we have to do that. It can't be just one or two people. There are businesses that have allowed me to bring in my dog unvested into their business because they realize they've seen me have him post up outside. They see how he's not going to urinate and defecate all over the place. They see how well behaved he is, and they take a chance. And it is a chance for them. If your dog is aggressive towards somebody else in a store, guess who gets sued? The one who has the most money, which is the business owner. All right? And it doesn't have to be contact. There doesn't have to be blood. All it takes is a dog to lunge or growl at someone and make them uncomfortable. That's assault or attempted assault. So then the person can turn around and sue the store owner because they allowed you and your a-hole dog, which is your fault, into the business. So why would they do that? If the dog comes in with the customer and the dog is tearing clothes off the hangers or running wild, they're doing damage and causing harm or possibly tripping somebody. Why would business owners let people in with their dogs? Because this is the behavior we see 90% of the time. 90% of the time I see a-hole dogs, which is the owner's fault. Not because they're rescues, But because the owners do not take responsibility to give their dogs the right structure to actually be safe to go anywhere. All right? So, the other option is people, they go on these day trips. Like I do a lot of errands in one shot. I try to, arrange that because once I get home, I don't want to damn well go anywhere. So I want to get all my stuff done. So sometimes you bring your dog for some things, but they're not available for other things. So you can't take them into some places after you've been to some, all that stuff. So you have to leave your dog in the car maybe. You think you're just going to be for a few minutes. Then you have the possibility of having a dead dog or a very sick dog, etc. And that's a dangerous thing, right? We also might consider leaving our dogs posted outside because all of our trips may have been a walking trip within our neighborhood, but there's just one store we can't bring the dog in, so we post outside. And which, honestly, if we didn't have dishonest people around and if we had well-behaved dogs, owners who actually took it, I don't mind that. I mean, if you go to different parts of the world, people leave their dogs outside all the time. They don't touch them. If people would stop petting dogs that were sitting there and stop trying to interact with them, then we would actually be okay. You shouldn't be talking to a dog that is tied up outside and even barking or nervous. I can't believe how many people think they have some magic touch. I don't have the magic touch. This is my business. The dog's like whining for the owner who's in the store, and you're like, "It's okay, puppy. It's okay." You just added to the whole thing, and you've just made it worse. You perpetuated it. You've reinforced it. So don't mess with people's dogs that are actually posted outside and trying to behave themselves. Ignore them. Do not pet them. It's not your dog. All right, so moving on. Little ode to Peter Caine, Caine, from New York, Brooklyn, just so you know. Just check it out on YouTube. Really like the man, quite honestly. So, anyway, this is a problem because, people want to complain that they can't bring their dogs in. They think it's mean. I've had so many people, either just passing or as a dog trainer, as a civilian or a dog trainer, walking around and they'll say, "Oh, but my dog's so sweet. She's so wonderful." And you're like, I don't understand why they don't let... Okay, first of all, if you're trying to tell me your dog is sweet, right away it's a red flag that says you are either not just biased, but blind. You probably have some serious issues with your dog. You just don't see it. And it is not all about you. It's about the entire society. If we had a society, a city, where the focus was on good dog training and good dog behavior, not just, okay, the dog didn't draw blood, so it's a good dog, then, if our standards were higher, businesses could actually afford the risk of letting people bring their dogs in. So it's our fault. It's our fault that a clothing store on Melrose doesn't want you to bring your dog in. I mean, they probably love dogs themselves, but they have to watch out for liability for suits in terms of lawsuits. They have to make sure the merchandise isn't destroyed or peed on or there's hair hanging off of it. They don't need to be discounting something because dog hair is rubbed up against it. So the deal is that you want to complain. Those of you who are complaining, by the way, it's a little bit of a shubster move on your part. Because if you aren't taking responsibility for your dog or your neighbor or whatever for being well-behaved, and I mean like a high standard of well-behaved, like on, the first phase of service dog training, well-behaved, then you have no reason to complain. It's your fault, okay? So, all right. If you've listened to any of these shows, we know that people say all the time that dogs are friendly and wonderful, and the minute you see them pulling on the leash and yanking and getting all excited when they see people and see other dogs, they're not friendly. They're jacked up. So you want to make sure that, if we had the standards that, first phase of service dog, it was set and done, and that's what you need to do. If everybody had to took a CGC test every 5 years,